Everyone can kind of free up the seat. That would be great. So we have people standing. Kind of like church. You know, everybody gathering. Let's double seats up front here. Alright, it's 7 o'clock. Let's do this. Thank you everybody for being here tonight. It's a special night for us. We'll be, I'm sorry?
John Curtis, where are you?
Hang on, John Curtis. He's got 1 minute before we start.
We got an extra seat here.
Yeah, got a few extra seats here, one there, a couple in the front.
We're usually waiting on Bob. Okay, it is December 9th, 2019, 7 p.m. Special night tonight to swear in our new council members and to see off one of our existing council members. Can I have roll call, please?
Michael Helmut.
Here.
Scott Canal.
Here.
Chrissy Stokes.
Here.
Bob Boland.
Here.
John Curtis.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance with us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. At this time, we are going to swear in our new council members. But first, I'd like to thank Tracy Stokes for her 4-year commitment to this council. Probably one of the biggest researchers we have. She did a lot of good things, including helping us with the VRBOs, the vacation rentals, and things like that. Had a heart for that. Looked at how her and Mike Bewig, I know, was working on a way to relieve some of our elderly folks in town on the water bills. We have something in place in our municipal code. She was trying to tweak that and get that to move forward, and a lot of other good things. So, Tracy, it's been a pleasure to serve with you. You've done a wonderful job, and I know you'll be out there doing something exciting for this community. All right, now we're going to swear in our new council members. We don't have your nameplates, So all it's gonna be, Bill Mayor tonight, oh no, those are planning commission. All right, so first, let's bring up Jim Clark, James Clark. Come on up, Jim. Diane's gonna have you, you gonna do them all together? Or you all together?
I, Jim Clark, do solemnly declare and affirm that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and the laws of the state of Colorado, and the laws and ordinances of the city of Idaho Springs, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of council member for Ward 1 for the state of Colorado, upon which I'm about to enter.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, oh. Get to sit next to me.
You go next. I, John Curtis, do solemnly declare and affirm that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and the laws of the state of Colorado, and the laws and ordinances of the city of Idaho Springs, that I will faithfully perform the duties of city council member for Ward 2 for the state of Colorado, upon which I'm about to enter.
I do. Next, let's bring up Art Cactabell. Oh, Cactabell Lee. Okay. Are we gonna get that little thing from the name tag too?
I, Arthur Bailey, do solemnly declare and affirm that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and the laws of the state of Colorado, and the laws and ordinances of the city of Idaho Springs, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of council member for Ward 1 for the state of Colorado, upon which I'm about to enter.
And last but certainly not least, Chuck Foreman.
I, Charles Harmon, do solemnly declare and affirm that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and the laws of the state of Colorado, and the laws and ordinances of the city of Idaho Springs, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of council member for Ward 2 for the state of Colorado, upon which I'm about to enter.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Next to on the other side. All right, let's get this thing rolling. We got a lot to do tonight. So the council, new council members, probably want to know that we're also the marijuana license authority, the liquor licensing authority, we got some tasks to handle. All right. All right, we have an agenda in front of us. Do I have a motion, please?
Motion to move to approve the agenda for December 9th, 2018 meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second's on the table. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. And we'll move to conflicts of interest. Does anybody on council feel with the agenda that we have in front of us that you'd have a conflict of interest?
Yeah, I have a question to the attorney again. Yeah, and on the annexation of parcel, myself and two neighbors are annexing parcels, old BLM land, and also abandonment of the right-of-way. And so I didn't know if I should recuse myself from that discussion. I certainly won't vote on it, but I didn't know as
Right.
one of the petitioners.
Yeah. It's I know it's the first reading, so there'll be no discussion, but generally, yes, if you're recusing yourself from a vote, you're also recusing yourself from a discussion.
Right, okay, but I guess what I'm wondering, should I, on this, that hopefully not confidential?
I would abstain from it.
Oh, I'd certainly abstain,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
still be present, or,
You can be present.
oh, okay, all right.
Thanks for asking that.
And I have a conflict of interest on the marijuana transfer of ownership because I own the property that the applicant business.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Bob. Okay. Approval of the minutes. Now, when we approve these minutes, we should have enough because new council was not part of this, so they won't get to make a motion or vote on the approval of the minutes. It's no big deal. So do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the minutes from November 12th and November 18th.
Second. Motion and second. Discussion? Roll call?
Michael Helmuth,
Yes.
Jeff Bell,
Yes.
Teresa Stefani, Bob Boland,
Yes.
John Curtis,
Yes.
Go ahead and mention the other names and have them abstain.
Jeff Harmon,
Abstain.
Jim Clark,
Abstain.
Art Cacavelli.
Abstain.
Becca Lee.
Sorry.
Karen, this is saying.
No.
All right, we got the minutes, bills. Everybody got their packets. New council, this is where we, when you look through your bills, if you have any questions on some big items or something you don't understand, this is the time for us to discuss those. Don't ever feel that you have to, no question's a stupid question. And whether I will have all the answers between all the department heads and Diane, we will come up with the answers. So I need a motion.
I'll move to approve the bills to December 9th, 2019, and ratify the bills from November 25th, 2019.
Do I have a second? Discussion.
Page 4, there's two bills exactly the same for the nitro exam bills. I just wondered if that's not enough double billing, that's just two the same.
They're split between water and wastewater.
Yeah.
Different line items.
Looks like we paid out 540,000 to our project one. That's on page 4 also.
Page 5, there's the wastewater that's hauled to the landfill. What's the wastewater that we haul there?
That's the sludge dewatering. We dewater our biosolids. We have a contractor haul that.
That's non-treated plant. What's that?
It's treated, yeah, it's biosolids. So that's the end of the process. And that's what we're contract dewatering, hauling, and we put in the press and do it ourselves. And we say we use a lot of money for that.
Anybody have anything else?
Page 7, there's grease trap inspections. What do we pay grease trap inspections for?
So all the restaurants are annually, well,
So it's
some
our
are-
expense though.
it is passed back to the property owner.
Oh, okay. Go through us and then
Go through
pass
it.
back.
Anything else? Okay, what I like to do to council on anything that really has to do with money and payouts, I like to do a roll call so it's on record. That we had our voice instead of a motion of a consent item. So roll call.
Michael Helmuth,
Yes.
Jeff Bell,
Yes.
Bob Boland,
Yes.
John Curtis,
Yes.
Jeff Harmon,
Yes.
Jim Clark,
Yes.
Art Cacavelli.
We gotta do this too. Yes. All right, motion passes. We've already done the swearing in. I wanted to get everybody sworn in before we approved everything since the members got a packet and could look through this stuff. So now we're gonna have a public comment. Larry Dungan, come on up.
Larry Dungan, 1520 Minor Street. And I'm here to contest my TAPI on my water bill. I bought this building from a city official, and at that time it had a TAPI of 1.0 on it. And the city was aware of the property status at the time because the MLS listing that you can still see online says that it was sold to me as a live work unit. On September of 2019, the TAPI was raised to 2.0 with no notice to me, which is actually a violation of your due rights process to put a fine on someone's property without giving them any notice at all. So Well, I came in front of the city council on September 23rd, and then while I was waiting for you guys to give me an answer, which you never did give me an answer on, Jonathan King and Adam toured my building. Or Alan, I apologize. So then, after they toured my building, I actually received a shut-off notice. I've never been late with my water bill or anything, but I didn't pay that second newly added tap fee. So I received a shut-off notice, which more or less was like a thug-like response to the tap fee. You either pay up or shut you down. You know, it would have shut down my business. And so it's, like I said, kind of a racketeering practice. On October 31st, I received an email from Wanda Martell, and she said that they determined that there was an apartment in that building. Well, the municipal code for apartment states that it is a numerous suite of rooms offered to the public for compensation that has full cooking and eating quarters in it. And you can ask Jonathan and Alan, they can testify that doesn't fit the description of an apartment in the back of that building. There's no eating quarters or places to prepare food back there. And my wife is disabled. I do make it as comfortable as I can back there. So the city did tell Fox 31 News that there was a bed in that building and a couch in that building, but that does not constitute an apartment under your municipal codes. It doesn't even constitute a auxiliary dwelling unit. So I asked for information on other properties, and I pulled one from Colorado Avenue, and it's also owned by a city official. And in 2006, it stated that there's an apartment in there, a living quarters in there, and a full restaurant. That apartment and the tap fee was set at 2.0, so that would be all right if a live work unit was set at a tap fee of 1 because of the living quarters in the restaurant. And then if the apartment was set at 1, 2.0 would be correct for that property. However, it's been like that forever. But then after that, to add insult to injury, if not, and they bill it out like they're billing my property out, then it should have been billed out at 2.9 all these years. So, to add insult to injury, in September, the city has notes on that property that they're further reducing that water tap. They reduced it to 1.65 while they're raising mine and threatening to shut me down. And in essence, they're threatening to shut me down. So, what this is telling me is public officials are getting preferential treatment in these water tap fees. And
Okay, we'll stop there. Your 3 minutes is up. I'll let you go over it. And just to let you know, this is public comment. So that's why we don't respond and discuss. It's a public comment. And can you tell us, Larry, Mr. Kogan is requesting a some kind of hearing. What is the process in that?
The appeal process in 1276. He's requesting an appeal, and then they let him know when they notice. So today you're requesting the appeal today, correct? But then for a future, to put on for a hearing at future city council. Is that how you guys do it?
Well, Carmen's just said that the appeal doesn't require a public hearing or anything. It's just an appeal to council of, what's it say?
Yeah, it comes back to city council, and I meant in public, a public city council meeting. So you could schedule it today so he has notice. For the
No,
next
this is the
meeting.
appeal.
Oh, well then.
it actually says in the shut-off permit that I have the right to request a hearing.
Right, I'm sorry, because you're saying public comment. So it's more than public comment. He's here to appeal in front
Oh,
of you.
this
So
is an appeal. Okay.
So if you have anything further to say that you felt cut off, you can share that in front of the council.
So Larry,
Or we can start asking questions.
I have no idea what the cutoff. That's not where council's at. That's done through staff. I was not aware about that. I don't think any of council was. Diane?
I'd like to add a few things because I'm very familiar with this case.
Correct.
It wasn't a cutoff, directed at him. It was a shut-off notice that every customer gets, is computer generated, because
the bill hasn't been paid. It's just a notice that, if the bill hasn't been paid, and they need to come and do
The
it.
actual bill was paid, but the
Hold on,
secondary
we're not
tap fee wasn't
No,
paid.
we're not gonna do, this is an
The
appeal,
added tap
excuse me. The city is gonna explain fully, and then you get to respond, but we're not gonna do this back and forth. So Diane, to be clear, if you could start from the beginning as to what was charged, the authority in the code, go through that process, then you can rebut, and the city council can ask questions to either the city staff or the appellant.
Thank you.
What initiated this charge to Mr. Dungan's account was a visit to the office on July 3rd. And if I could read from the account notes, he came in today and asked if he could get a separate meter for the condo behind his shop where he is living. He wanted to separate the unit into one residential and one commercial. We did not have it marked down as a 2-building unit, so I changed the units to 2 per the municipal code. 1 unit for the commercial use and 1 for the residential.
And that was in July 2019, correct?
Yes. And that was done. When the new rates were established, he was being charged 2 base rates for commercial, which I have informed council before, we corrected that. So he's only being charged 1 commercial base rate and 1 residential. So it was at his own admission to having a commercial and a residential that we charged him the multiplier. And the code indicates that for a single-family residential and for a commercial, the multiplier is 1. And for multifamily uses, the multiplier for the first dwelling unit is 0.9. So that's why he's being charged the base or the multiplier 1.9. And it's not a tap fee, it's just a base rate.
And that's section 12-61 of the code.
And I've also included in your packets statements from Jonathan Kane and Ellen Tiefenbach. They did a visual observation with Mr. Dungan present, and they indicated that their observation was that there was a commercial space in the front of the building and items to indicate that there was a residence in the back. And that's the information that I've gathered for council.
And in your package, just to clarify what Diane's saying, it says on July 3rd, 2019, Larry came in today and he asked if he could get a separate meter for the condo behind the shop where he's living. You want to separate the unit into 1 residential and 1 commercial. We do not have it marked out as a 2-unit building, so I changed the units to 2 per the municipal code. 1 unit for commercial, 1 unit for residential. I created a work order for Public Works to advise me if the meter is a possibility and who would need to do the work. Just to further explain the issue, we're here today. And then the appellant, if you could just explain what you were requesting the council here today, now that you understand that what we explained.
I'm requesting that it be put back to a single tap fee because the building was sold to me as a live work unit by a city official. And that's how I've always referred to that building, as a live work unit. However, it doesn't, the back of that thing, even if there's an item back there that's a toothbrush or a hairbrush, it doesn't fit your description, the municipal code description of an apartment or an attached dwelling unit. And it's different rates on these tap fees. So they either need to do it across the board directly or not. And you know, you have this right here, an apartment, a dwelling unit, and a restaurant, and it's set at 1.65.
Can I see that document, please?
Yes, sir.
That's what gives you the commercial base rate as well as the residential.
So can
That's how we
I
have to do it in
ask
our
for legal
system.
advice?
So you're correct. So the commercial base rate, 1, the dwelling
The
unit,
council's deciding this, so
2,
yeah.
and then 0.9 for the apartment.
No, you're
That's
being
not what
charged
it's showing.
1 commercial base rate and one residential base rate.
And when
Yeah,
that equals
according to the
1.9, right?
The multiplier states that every dwelling after that first one is filled out at 0.9.
We
So
had
you
to,
have the restaurant, 1, the dwelling unit, or the home makes it 2, and then the apartment makes it 2.9.
we had to do it at a 1.65 so that you wouldn't be charged to
I'm not talking
commercial.
about my property. I haven't seen anything on my property yet saying that it's been reduced. You did give me a little bit of a rebate when I came in to pay the fee,
Right,
but
because
you
you were
didn't tell me
being
that what it
charged,
was.
you were being charged 2 commercial rates. To get it to be correct, for being charged a commercial base rate and a residential, we had to do it into our utility billing system as a 1.65.
So right now it's 1.65.
Yes.
So you're appealing that designation, or are you looking for the past fees that you were rebated? What are you asking for today?
I'm asking for it to be set back to 1. I bought it as a live work unit. You guys knew exactly what it was. Why is it important to them now when it wasn't important to them then?
So do you have any questions?
I have a question about the definition of the apartment. Are you comfortable with how the terminology of that versus what he might be saying it is, if there's a difference?
So I don't think we need to go there to that point because we're explaining that it's a live-work unit. So he asked for a commercial and a residential. So as Diane explained, you start with the 1. You start with the 1 for the commercial first,
Yes, sir.
and then the 6.5 is for the residential. So if someone's living there, correct? Someone's living there. You're living there.
We stay there on occasion, yes. We actually stay with some friends up valley too, but yes, I do have that thing set up. You see this road closed down all the time. You can live in the back of that building,
Okay.
but there's no kitchen, anything like that in there. But when I bought it, there was a kitchen back there. It was a full apartment.
Do you want you or Alan want to speak about the residential unit designation, or do you feel that it's just because it was asked? I mean, he asked for 1 commercial, 1 for residential, and that it is live
You
work.
want me to answer that?
Yeah, if you could.
So I don't think about community development plan. Our definition of residential unit does say kitchen. I know. I guess my only comment is I'm not sure what kind of cooking facilities he has up front. He doesn't have a kitchen in the back. In the front, he has some kind of baking facilities. I'm not sure what those are, but again, for the record, a residential unit, if we're talking about a residential unit, our definition, there's a couple of different things that we use to determine whether it's a residence. The first one is a kitchen. That's the most damning part. The second thing is typically a residence has a separate entrance, not the same entrance. I would agree it's a work-live more than a separate unit.
And then what will work with be under our code?
I don't know if we have a definition of work-live.
And I did go in and ask them, do they ever separate that out? Do they ever build the buildings in a live work unit out differently? And so I did ask that, but I didn't ask them.
Okay.
And,
So then your
and the
question.
other thing is they did it without even giving me an indication that they were going to do it, which is wrong in itself.
Can I ask, where are you registered to vote at?
Out of that building, all of my stuff's registered there because that's the only property in Clearfield County.
Does that say that is your permanent residency, because that's where you're registered to vote at?
It's the only property I own is Clearfield County, and I do register everything out of there. So.
And all everybody knows is that he's talking about my building here. And from my understanding, since my family lives there, and it's all connected to living, it's not a separate apartment for public rental. It's my kids that are living there, and it's connected to the other part of the building.
Can I say one thing though?
Sure.
That in that document, or in this one, just like she's reading off those notes that they entered, you told them that there's an apartment, there's separate living quarters for you and your family.
I
No,
don't know
I'm sorry,
the
it's not appropriate.
Okay,
You're holding me to the same standard.
You know your point, but we're talking about your specific situation, and they're asking, they're trying to get to the bottom of it, but to start to point to other properties, that's not.
So, council, so we need to rule on this?
I'd like to know if we put the separate meter in.
No, sir.
What are you talking about? I just want to know if we did or not.
Yeah, no, sir.
Okay.
Actually, there's only one water line running back there.
Well, yeah, you would have
I
run
stay-
2 alarm lines.
I do stay at 1890 County Road 308 because my friends have a big house there and stuff, and we like to get away from the building. But I wouldn't have a problem having a plumber in and cutting that line going in the back of that building. If it's going to save me $1,180 a year, you know, that's a nuisance tax that's placed on that building that brings down the value of that building.
So just to be clear, this is an appeal that council will be deciding. Right now it's the 1.65, and you'll be deciding if you're, accepting the appeal to put it to the 1.0 multiplier for commercial use. So that's the decision that's in front of you today. Yes, it's a hearing, so it's an appeal. You need to make a decision. Pursuant to the code.
Alan, you were saying something about separate entrance. Was there a definition on entrances or?
Well, no, if you look at our definition for dwelling unit, it says kitchen. Sometimes, generally, if we're looking at a separate kitchen, we also look to see if there's a separate entrance. I guess if I was going to give my opinion, that's not a standalone apartment where somebody else not associated with that building is going to live. It's a workload building. It's not a separate apartment.
So yeah.
But I don't think we have a definition for work-live. Maybe we do. I don't have the book in front of me.
No,
I don't think we have a definition for work-live.
Yeah, so to answer even clearer on the question, dwelling unit is one or more rooms, a single kitchen, at least one bathroom, occupied intended for occupancy as separate quarters for the exclusive use of living, cooking, and sanitary purposes, located in a single-family, two-family, multifamily dwelling unit. And Alan's correct that most definitions include that separate entrance for a dwelling unit. That's just typical for most of the.
There has been times, I can't off the top of my head, but there have been times where it's been questionable whether it's a kitchen, like if they have a hot plate or something. But if it's like a separate entrance where you can get in and out of that place without ever having to come through the other building, that's the other thing we look at. But in this particular case, it's all part of the same building space for the most part.
And was there entrance in the rear?
There is an entrance in the rear.
And do you think that it'd be possible to give some kind of definition in our, that would apply to his situation, or is that?
Sure. I mean, we don't have one right now. It would take an amendment to the land development regulation definitions, but sure. Maybe I would defer to the attorney whether there could be a policy that could be adopted until the ODR is amended next year. Maybe we could write a policy saying this is what a live work building is.
Well, it depends on if it would be increasing. You know, if I wouldn't recommend doing that at the detriment to the appellant if we're deciding there wasn't a separate unit. So if we're going to do work live in the future, you would decide however you're going to decide, and then in the future we would change it. And they can just change the code in that circumstance. It doesn't need to be, they would, be voted on and everything.
And it wouldn't just be a change to the LDR provisions, it would be a
12.
change to the municipal utility section of the municipal code as well. Further explain the multiplier and how it relates to a live work versus a commercial or residential.
It's not a separate unit. No, it's not a separate unit.
You couldn't seal that off. If you sealed that off, if you sealed that back off, there wouldn't be a kitchen in it. It's all shared in the same building space.
And fire exits.
There's a rear exit.
Doesn't the fire code dictate that as a rear exit?
I would probably almost look at this like
More exit for a building.
He does,
I don't think I can.
Required.
or has an entrance and an exit.
Right. Well, that has nothing to do with what's happening.
I've got one question. I'm not clear if that's your official residence for voting or not.
It is, I am registered to vote out of that building. And the reason why I did that is, like I said, that's, my only property that I own in 13 counties.
Right.
So my vehicles are registered there and everything.
You know, looking for some directions from you, please.
Oh, okay, sorry, I said it before. So the appeal is whether you're granting the appellant's request to go back down to the 1.0 multiplier, or if you're denying the appeal and it would stay for the 1.65, which was designated by staff for the commercial and a residential unit.
So I guess the motion would be if we want to allow this to go back down to the 1 and not increase it to the 1.65.
You'd be granting the appeal. So he made an appeal. Let's see what it says. He's appealing the directive of the staff, so you would be granting the appeal and make it clear that it would, if you're going that way, to go to the 1.0 multiplier, if that's the way that's what you're going. And the relief, oh, I'm sorry. The letter, I would also address, the relief is, I'm requesting that the added service charge be removed retroactively, along with any late fees or service charges incurred. Have there been late fees assessed?
Yes, that was like $20, but.
$20, okay.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, we're calling it a residence when it comes to voting, but we're not calling it a residence when there's no kitchen.
That's the question, yeah.
Yeah, he's using it as a commercial space too.
I think we need some additional opinions from.
Are there any other properties generally that relate to this where the person's kind of living in the commercial?
Approximately 12,
And then how do you multiply it?
the same as the 1.65.
Oh, okay, so that should. And can you explain how you got to 1.65 again for everybody?
Well, the code says 1.9,
Right.
but in our utility billing software, we had to do 1.65 to get it to be charged only at the commercial base rate and the residential.
Okay.
Alan?
I just mentioned what this is worth. So work live isn't defined, but mixed use is. And it says, a building or buildings containing residential in addition to non-residential uses permitted in the zone. Ground floor residential units shall be limited to accessory to the commercial uses. So to me, it sounds like a mixed use building. What do we call it? Work live. This pretty much defines what it is. It's a mixed use building.
A mixed use.
It's a mixed use building.
Which would say.
And the residential, because it's not a separate standalone seal-off unit, the residential component would be customarily incidental to the restaurant, meaning that's where they live and operate the restaurant.
So what's the multiplier for a mixed use? Dan.
I'm looking.
No rush. I want to be clear on my question.
Well, it doesn't really define mixed use. It says single-family residential or commercial or multi-family.
The other situations that you said have the commercial and the residential, would you define those as mixed use and you went with the 1.65?
Yes.
It's one.
Where's the kitchen for the,
There's a kitchen for the baking take place. You walk in the front of the building and you can see it. There's a big industrial oven. There's a small oven that we heat pastries up and bake the pastries in. And then there is a hot plate between the two, but the hot plate only has enough BTUs to it to melt chocolate and stuff. And that was at the request of the fire chief because I don't have a fire suppression system in the building.
Dan, the 12 other locations you explained, do they have the same situation where it's not a defined, separated, designated living unit?
Correct.
So that's important to know that this situation, this is generally this is how you deal with this situation. When there's not a separate living unit, it's all together, commercial and residential.
Yes.
12 other units over 1.65.
That's how we've done it according to the code. The current code. That it defines single-family residential or commercial or multifamily uses. Doesn't define what, single-family residential is in the, municipal utility section. It just says, single family, commercial, multi-family.
And in that other document that you referred to, the 1.65, that's the fee schedule? The utility fee schedule? Can you have
Well,
that?
it's, we're going based on the 1.9.
Right, but how do we get to 1.65 for everyone? So everyone can
We had to do it in our utility billing software where Cassell, to get it to have a commercial and a residential rate. It kind of replaces, and it's the same thing as 1.9. But in order to get it to go into our billing system, we had to do it as 1.65.
So we're giving them a discount already.
Instead of 1.9, you're doing 1.65, which is 2.5 less.
No,
Sounds like the same.
it is the same. It's just how we had to do it in our software.
Because 0.65 is the ratio that a residential rate is of a commercial rate.
Thank you, thank you.
So 1 plus 0.65 equals both those rates together.
No, okay.
Okay, we need to start determining the ruling on this. I guess we don't need a motion. So we do need a motion?
Yes, because he has the right to this appeal, so we want to make a clear decision, whether you're granting it or denying the relief.
So I would make a motion that we deny 1520 Minor Street's request and we leave the multiplier at 1.65.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion.
I think the voting issue is separate. I believe that it's defined that it's not a kitchen because of the stove and whatever Ellen said. So I think I disagree with the motion.
Okay. Any more discussion?
Yeah, well, my thought is you have a place to vote, but it's not your residence. It has to be your residence, right? You can only have one residence.
You voted your primary residence.
Your primary.
And that's the only residence, that's the only place I own in Clear Creek County.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
no,
matter
that-
if it's Clear Creek County.
Yeah, see, to me, there's a total conflict. I don't really, and I agree that the voting is a separate issue, but he is trying to have a residence here without the obligation for the water. And I don't,
Well, and you have a commercial designation where you work, where you
yeah,
have a place of business. In order to vote, you have to have a place to live, and that's residence.
I don't know, it just seems to me you can't have it both ways, in my mind.
Well, then we should allow them vote here, but I think the issue is the water and not the voting, and I don't agree with the motion.
Any other discussion?
What about the other properties? Is there a kitchen? Is there, that we were discussing? There, you said 10 others, Diana? I'm sorry.
Possibly 12,
12. There was a kitchen and separate entrance to all of those.
unknown.
Who knows?
There is to mine. So this is the first time I've ever seen mine. I'm not the water clerk. So,
Yeah.
So that, I mean, it's not.
But when I had asked you, you had said that those are similar. They don't necessarily have the separate living unit, just that there's the two uses going on.
Right. Residential and commercial.
Okay, I need roll call.
Michael Hillman,
No.
Scott Pennell,
Yes.
Bob Boland,
Yes.
John Curtis,
Yes.
Chuck Harmon,
Yes.
Jim Clark,
No.
Art Cacavel.
No.
I think I voted the wrong way. I voted no, not to allow it to decrease.
Well, I changed I wanted to decrease.
I think we should do the.
Okay.
Let's really vote.
The motion is to allow
To deny
the appeal. Motion, okay. Motion.
So voting yes would be to not to agree with the motion to deny the request of the appeal and leave as is.
So I would not agree with the appeal.
We're gonna do a roll call. Michael Hillman.
No, right?
No.
Yes.
Okay, so the person who made the motion said, the motion was to deny their appeal and to leave the multiplier at 1.65. So if you agree with the motion, you vote yes.
Yes, okay,
If you disagree with the motion, you vote no.
okay.
Michael Hillman,
Yes.
Scott Pennell,
Yes.
Bob Boland,
Yes.
John Curtis.
Yes.
Jeff Harmon.
Yes.
Jim Clark.
No.
Art Cacavelli.
No.
Okay, 5-2, motion passes. Diane, we need to check this, I don't. Not for tonight.
Yeah, you better check that, make sure you're paying right, because Bob wasn't when he owned the building.
And
And I want to thank everybody in here for your time. I didn't think I would take this much of your time out, so thank you.
thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we will go to unscheduled public comment. Can I get my list, please?
Oh. Anybody else want to sign up for public comment?
Sergio Garcia. State your name, where you reside, please.
Santiago Garcia III. I actually reside in Gilpin County, but I own business 1743 Minor Street, also known as the bike shop that you have to call for an appointment. I'm going to explain a quick timeline. I also have pictures here. On December 1st, I noticed, or actually I was showing my property, which is for sale, to a possible buyer. Person inquired directly to me what a huge pile of snow was on my property. You can actually pass that around. And I really didn't have a straight answer for them. I noted that I had allowed the city, that the city had plowed before there and left snow there sometimes, but usually they removed it, which actually was a lie, because every time that snow does get put there, it gets left. I've never asked really for it to be removed, although I have felt that it's disrespectful to me being a property owner. I do pay for that property. So I took photos December 1st. December 3rd, I decided to wait 2 days to see if they would clear it. December 3rd, I came in and I asked for it to be removed. And I was told that it would be, which I was appreciative for. I left, went on my way. Then I ended up getting a letter in the mail telling me that I was not in compliance for shoveling my sidewalks. I really feel it was a direct action due to me asking the city to remove the snow. I got a number of issues with the city, which I don't need to discuss. I'm not worried about it. It's going to go down how it goes. Steven Zacharias issued it. He's our code officer, so I've always had a very good relationship with Steven Zacharias, the code compliance officer. When I'm not away on work, we regularly speak a few times a week. As our paths cross in the parking lot, I had talked to him probably 2 different times, 2 different days, in between the snow being there and me making the report. He never said anything to me. He's on the past always say, hey, do me a favor, shovel your sidewalks or something like that. No problem, I'll get to it. And I'm not a meteorologist or anything, but I'm pretty much thinking that we've had snow 8 to 10 times. And this is the first time that anyone has come to me or sent me something in the mail, which I find kind of suspicious considering I never shovel anything. The city does choose to plow their side of the parking lot, and then for some reason has been pushing the snow into my area. We wouldn't have a problem with it if it wasn't for the sale of my building and looking adversely on me to the potential buyer. Then when I decided to look far east a portion of my sidewalk in front of my building, there's another pile of snow there, which is my sidewalk. However, that snow was put there because of the city plow. They decided to plow that snow up over the curb and onto the sidewalk. So now I wonder, am I supposed to pick up that mess as well, just because it's on my property and it was delivered by a city vehicle? It's kind of weird. Then, between the hours of 3 p.m. today and 4:30 p.m., I walked from the east side of my property over to where Minor and Colorado join. 6 properties that all have snow on their things. I spoke to one of the owners there. They told me that they had never gotten a message from or anything in the mail from the city about their sidewalk, which was just like mine. And I noted from that area all the way to the Safeway, there's another 5 properties with snow all over their sidewalks too. I didn't even bother to go talk to them. And then when I was driving east out of town, 5 more properties with the same issue.
Minutes is up. Thank you very much for your comments.
Yep.
Appreciate you. and for the pictures.
Point
Mr. Mayor.
Point made though.
For the benefit of all the people here, you were just given a wrong story, and I'd like to address the group. First of all, those letters, there were many letters sent out. They were sent out under my instruction. They were sent out because we have people that are in wheelchairs in this town that couldn't navigate the sidewalks, yours included. In reference to the snow plowing, that's outside the purview of the police department. I was unaware of that. That's a coincidence, and I apologize. Multiple letters went out to members of the community under my instruction. I didn't specifically cite any properties. I instructed the code enforcement officer to patrol the city. So, Santiago, to correct you, multiple letters did go out.
I'm not saying they did it.
Okay, it's been documented. It's in a case report. If you'd like to do an open records, you can get the listing of all the addresses.
Okay, I don't need to know. I'm just stating that it felt a little odd.
Okay. I am empathetic to the plowing situation.
Okay, we're gonna end the public comment.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Tracy Stokes.
My name is Tracy Stokes. I live at 28 Virginia Street. I proudly served on City Council under the excellent leadership of award-winning Mayor Mike Kilman until just a few minutes ago. This last half a year has been unlike any that I remember, fraught with nonsensical, inaccurate local rumors and fantasy that this town will somehow magically escape the inevitable effects of 80,000 people a year moving to Colorado who are interested in Idaho Springs and many towns so nearby Denver. Recall elections are on the rise in states that allow them, but many are starting to take on the characteristics of a nasty social virus, much like this one has become. It's generally acknowledged that the Colorado CRS recall statutes were never intended to be used for this purpose. Early research yielded a surprising discovery that the complaints against Mayor Hillman were nearly identical to the complaints on the Estes Park recall petition against Mayor Drisser this year. One might wonder why the Idaho Springs petitioners decided not to craft authentic recall document language that would specifically identify Mike Hillman's purported egregious offenses. Instead, it appears text was plagiarized from the Estes Park petition and cut and pasted to this one. There is no supporting documentation to accompany the 3 allegations against Mayor Hillman. Regarding point 1, significant erosion of public confidence in city government during his administration. In the original Estes Park petition, petitioners had actually done the work to verify a decline in confidence within the town by circulating satisfaction surveys, then arriving at that conclusion. I'm not aware of any such surveys being done in Idaho Springs. Point 2, failure to adequately supervise planning staff. There's an apparent lack of understanding of how a municipality functions. The mayor does not oversee planning staff. It's a function of the city administrator. Point 3, allowing unresolved conflicts of interest by city council members to occur. If any such conflicts existed, the city attorney would have notified us. If documents exist that claim to support these false allegations against Mayor Mike Hillman, they should be made public so voters can consider their validity. I would also ask the district attorney to review them for their contextual value and legal acquisition. If documents are acquired for the sole purpose of defaming and maligning a person, it's called doxing and it's a federal offense. I believe these allegations will be recognized as being made for the sole purpose of defaming and maligning the character of this mayor. The state of Colorado confirmed that documents connected to a recall election are available for public inspection, most specifically the recall signature petition showing everyone that signed it. You can get a copy of the signature petition by simply filing out a Cora request for the city clerk. I believe this recall effort is nothing more than a character assassination of Mike Hillman disguised as a recall. I find this recall effort to be a complete fraud. Sure, you have the right to recall Mayor Mike Hillman for absolutely no just cause, but have you considered if it's really the right thing for our city? The long-term damage caused by a recall far outweighs the reasonable alternative, which is withdrawing the petition as opposed to launching this baseless character assassination.
Thank you, Tracy. All right, we will now go into the marijuana license authority and a public hearing. Everybody take your hands off. We're now marijuana licensing authority. With this public hearing, this hearing will come to order. This public hearing before the marijuana licensing authority of the city of Idaho Springs to take testimony for consideration to approve applications for a change of ownership for Igati Ltd. located at 2818 Colorado Boulevard, license number 402R-00115, and 2820 Colorado Boulevard, license number 403R-0026, and 9 Pound Hammer LLC, located at 2058 East Idaho Springs Road, license number 403R-00151 and 403-01893, to the proposed applicant, Silver Peak Court. The applicant and anyone giving testimony will be sworn in by the city clerk. The order of this public hearing will be as follows: staff report by the city clerk, applicant testimony, police department, and public comment and testimony. I now declare this hearing open at 7:55. Staff report, please.
Mayor and council, in accordance with CRS 44-12-302, the notice of public hearing to be held by the Marijuana Licensing Authority concerning the above referenced application was published in the Clear Creek Current and marked as Exhibit A and on November 20th, 2019. And notice of the hearing was posted on the premises on November 28th, 2019. And staff summary is outlined in my staff report.
All right, thanks, Diane. We're now looking for applicant testimony. Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Are you? So, Mr. Michael will be the applicant, even though it's a change of ownership?
He's the counsel general.
Oh,
for
okay. Let's get sworn in. Please.
Do you swear the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Please state your name and where you reside.
David Michael of Winter Park, Colorado. I am the general counsel for both Agati Limited and for Silver Peak Corp. Not necessarily in terms of the legal transactions, but in terms of the licensing components of it. What is happening is that Agati will be transferring ownership from both. 9 Pound Hammer is a subsidiary of Agati. Both of those will be transferring to Silver Peak Corp. All of the executives will be maintained, and all of the current staff is going to be maintained. The Agati name is going to be maintained. And as far as the public is concerned, there will be zero difference between their experience beforehand and their experience afterwards, after this is approved. And we're still waiting state approval as well. The first step is getting a local approval on that. And really what this will allow us to do is the company is going to be able to spread its brand, be better capitalized, be able to make improvements to the properties in Idaho Spring, and better serve our customer base. And if there's any questions, I'm more than happy.
We're going to get to public. We'll get to the comment, public comment as well. Okay, Chief.
Mr. Mayor and Council, we have no objection to the transfer. Again, as David explained, that it's really not going to affect the operations or impacts on the city.
Okay. Thanks, Chief. Now we are open for public comment and testimony. Anybody in the public would like to speak towards the transfer?
Is this on you? Yes, there's one person. Oh no, they crossed it off, so there's nothing.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Michael. You'll have a seat. We already checked it. All right, it is 7:56, and the hearing is now closed. Now we're open for council discussion.
I do have a question. I'm curious how many other locations Silver Peak operates and where.
Currently, one.
And where is that?
Is in Denver. They also do have, a MIP license in Carbondale, Colorado that's not active.
How long have they been in business?
Silver Peak Corp was formed in, actually I take that back, it's Silphus Labs is the entity that owns that. So Silver Peak Corp was formed, I believe, end of July, and solely for the purpose of this acquisition and other acquisitions that they're doing.
You got their own grow house? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
The holding company does?
No, they don't. but they are acquiring a number of different licenses, all which will be managed and operated by Agassi's executive group. So it's really an opportunity for Agatti to be able to expand, have a lot more assets under management, and have a much larger brand in Colorado.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I've got one for you, Mr. Michael. This is the only location in Agatti that you're doing a transfer with?
No, all of them will be transferred.
All of them will be transferred?
Yes.
And that's a total of?
Right now, we currently have 19 licenses. Spread out throughout Colorado.
Okay, any more questions? All right, I need a motion.
I would move to transfer the ownership of Agatti Limited.
There's a suggested motion on the bottom of the clerk's administrator.
Okay.
Well, and it's outlined in the
There we go.
resolution,
Okay. Yeah, it's,
starting with resolution number 22.
So doing that first
Yes.
before we do the budget?
Well, actually, there's 3 of
Yeah,
them.
since we're in this, we'll go ahead and do resolution 22. Or, yeah, since we just came out of here. So we're doing resolution 22 and 23.
yeah, I will move to approve resolution 22, series 2019, a resolution approving application for a change of ownership for those retail marijuana licensed premises currently located at 2818 Colorado Boulevard from Agatti Limited to Silver Peak Corporation.
Do I have a second? Second. Motion second on the table. Last chance for discussion. And have roll call, please.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
Chuck second.
Michael Hammond?
Yes.
Scott Canal?
Recuse?
Bob Boland?
Yes.
John Curtis?
Yes.
Jeff Harmon?
Yes.
Jim Clark?
Yes.
Rebecca Bailey?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. I need a motion for resolution 23.
I would move that we approve resolution 23, series 2019, a resolution approving application for a change of ownership for retail marijuana license premise currently located at 2820 Colorado Boulevard from Agatti Limited to Silver Peak Corp.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Roll call?
Michael Hillman?
Yes.
Scott Canal?
Recuse?
Bob Boland?
Yes.
John Curtis?
Yes.
Jeff Harmon?
Yes.
Jim Clark?
Yes.
Art Cacavelli?
Yes.
All right, I need a motion for resolution 24.
I would move that we approve resolution 24, series 2019, a resolution approving application for a change of ownership for those retail marijuana licensed premise and medical marijuana licensed premise currently located at 2058 East Idaho Springs Road from 9 Pound Hammer LLC to Silver Peak Corp.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Roll call?
Michael Hillman?
Yes.
Bob Boland?
Yes.
John Curtis?
Yes.
Jeff Harmon?
Yes.
Jim Clark?
Yes.
Art Cacavelli?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Michaels. Now we will come out of the marijuana license authority back into our city council hats and planning community development.
Alan Diffenbach, Community Development Planner. Congratulations, council people. 2 items. The first one is really quick. This is a first reading. This is in regard to an annexation, a rezoning, a vacation, right away. It's going to happen up in Montaigne Park. First reading, what that means, just for those that are newer, is all that's happening tonight is that you're scheduling it for a formal hearing, and the formal hearing date would be January 13th. So on that formal hearing, you'll get a full staff report with a description. So that would be the first item. It's just per state statute, you have to schedule it first. The second item is in regard to a survey plan. Again, just to kind of simplify things a little bit. So Idaho Springs is what's called a certified local government. And what that means is that History Colorado makes certain benefits to cities that are certified local government. So they get grants, they get training, they get technical experience and those kinds of things. And there's certain things that the city has to do in order to keep up with that side of the deal. numerous things, for instance, having a historic preservation review commission and reviewing things. For quite some time, Idaho Springs has been sort of teetering on being decertified. We did not have a very active HPRC at the time, and really all that happened is that HPRC would review building permits, and that's about it. But there's a whole lot of other things that the HPRC is actually tasked to do. And one of the things that they're supposed to do is they are occasionally, and I can't remember the year, every years, they're supposed to do surveys. 10 years? Okay, so every 10 years we're supposed to get to do a survey. We have done surveys. Most of them are unfinished, and most of them have been many, many years, except for one that we did recently when the westbound Peak Period Shorter Lane was done. They did a survey. What this is about tonight is the first step in this process is to do something called a reconnaissance survey, where you're going out and looking to see what our assets are, and then along with that, we're looking at of those assets that we have, what are the ones that are most important to survey? What are the resources that are the most of importance to the city of Idaho Springs? And based on that, then there's sort of an action plan. So think of it as like the early stages of what we need to do in order to start moving forward with doing surveys of the whole city. And that is called a survey plan. History Colorado has offered us a grant of about $13,500 to do this. When we were working on this, we talked to a woman named Mary Therese Ansey, and she's with a company called History Matters. She worked with History Colorado for many years, so she understands what's required. These survey plans, there are certain requirements. If you want the money, there's strings attached. So if they give us the money, there are certain things that we have to give them as deliverables when we do these survey plans. Mary Therese Ansey, when we were working on putting together our grant package, she looked at what our needs were, and she prepared for us sort of a bid, saying this is how much it will cost and this is what it will do. We submitted that along, and History Colorado gave us the grant. Based on that now, we're moving forward with looking to find a contractor to this survey. Under this particular case, we don't have to bid this out and find 3 people. Now, sometimes we can, and that's one of the questions. We can, but we don't have to. The other thing is that there's only so many people that have the qualifications to do a survey plan, and especially if they've actually worked for the state. We brought this to the Historic Preservation Review Commission last month. We talked to them about it. Their recommendation was to go with Mary Therese Ansey. So that's what I'm bringing this to you tonight, council, is for the council to give us a direction to move forward, to work with Mary Therese Ansey to start the survey plan for the city. Does that make sense? Did I describe that well?
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
All right. That's so I need a motion.
It's actually an action item under the city administrator's staff report.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. Any questions for Alan? And we'll get to that.
Alan, just for the benefit of those who may not know, did the city have to come up with any money for this?
We had to match it like $500.
Right.
It was a 14. Well, she quoted us $14,000, and they got $13,500.
We put that in to make it for a stronger application. So we had I think the total
$1,500.
We just wanted to tell the state that we had a vested interest in this project.
Right. I'm just asking because a lot of times there's a 25% match or something, and we got a lot of bang for our bucks.
We're only technically giving $500.
So it's not the 14,996?
It's 13,500 is what the grant is.
Right.
The rest is what the city is required. I think her price was 14,996.
It essentially was a $15,000 grant, and I put a $1,500 match into the grant.
Thank you, Alan. All right, we will move down. We are going to go into another public hearing. This hearing will come to order. This is a public hearing before the City Council of the City of Idaho Springs to take testimony on the adoption of I got the wrong one here. No, I'm not. We're good. Adoption of the budget for the City of Idaho Springs, Colorado for the calendar year beginning on January 1, 2020 and ending December 31st, 2020. The order of this hearing will be as follows. I'll have staff comment, public comment. This hearing is now declared open at 8:07. City Administrator.
Mayor and Council, no further comment. It's been a long process and a lot of input, and this is the final budget.
We're balanced. Balanced budget.
Yep.
Okay, any questions from the public? Do we have anybody from the public signed up? No? Anybody in the public who would like to speak? All right. This hearing is now closed at 8:08. To council for discussion. Council, discussion.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a discussion. It was given to me late Friday, so I hadn't had an opportunity to look too much at it, basically over the weekend. It's a format that I'm not accustomed to, and so I had so many questions. If I asked them all, we'd be here all night. So I see your budgeting and all that stuff, but some of it, because of not being included, and probably rightfully so, we're not seeing the drafts. Some of it just is, I just don't understand from lack of education, the way you guys do things. But I tried running some numbers, and maybe John can you tell me, just offhand, I picked one, Jonathan, or Andy, taking all the payroll and all the related benefits, can you tell me what the total is for the city, year to date?
The total spent?
Yeah.
That's the question? I can't tell you right off the top of my head.
I can, maybe one way to frame the question is to the different major funds that we have, and you're talking about totaling those up, the overall budget. Is that what you're
I'm talking about adding all the payroll together, whether it be the police or the maintenance guys on the street, their hourly, their salaries, their health, their 401A. I would like to know what that figure is year to date, so I can go back and say that that number is a certain percent of the total revenue that we're going to bring in, which gives me an indication. And I only picked that one because it's obvious to me. What I'd like to see in a budget, and I know you're not going to change it, but I'll do it myself when I get more acclimated to the format, is I want to take each expenditure and take percent of it and back it into the total revenue to see percent-wise where I'm at with each of my expenses to the total revenue, because that indicates the way I was taught when you're out of line, when you're not out of line. Now, I did hear once, okay. Did you hear?
No, go ahead, when you're done.
Okay.
Raise my
I
hand.
did hear early on that all the raises and everybody, I'm not fighting your payroll, I'm just using that as an example to get my percentage to the total so I can indicate what I think is out of line or not out of line. And that you use that formula of other cities as far as the raises, which I have no problems with. My concern is what the percent is to our total, because to me that's an accurate way of telling if we're in line or not with what we can handle and what we can't handle in an expense line. Once again, I'm not challenging that payroll, I'm challenging, I want to see the percent to the total to give me an indication of where we are.
Yeah, the finance officer does provide a monthly budget report to city council, so you'll be seeing that on a monthly basis, and it does have that percentage.
To the total revenue.
That's correct. So it does have the percentage of what's spent, what's unexpended.
Well, you're talking about each line item, how much is spent. He's talking about overall budget versus the.
Understand. Right.
I do know that the total, the sum of all of the major funds is just shy of $15 million. And I don't know if that helps at all, but that's our overall, what we are responsible for up here.
And also you gotta remember, Art, that our water and wastewater is a separate entity.
Right.
It is like a separate business, completely separate. So we would look at the revenues into that and take the payroll from water and wastewater.
We can separate the two. So we're still giving an indication. Okay, okay, then the other thing I was looking for is that we've had this, people call it managed, I'll call it paid parking. I don't see where the revenue is from that. Yeah, it was in there.
It's on the first page.
It's on the first page.
What, under what?
Yeah, line item 10-003-550. Oh no, right under it, 3555. No, that's parking fines.
It's all parking fines.
another signature, so. You know where that line item's at, John?
I'm looking for it now.
I mean, it should all be above the total general revenue fund totals. It should be-
I know, it's under capital, it's, we have an improvement fund, so it's not on the first page. It would be under the 21 fund, which is on page 13. And it is line item 21003700. So that's about eight down.
Okay, so,
So the actual year to date, just as an example there, is 97,000.
okay,
And then, budgeting, assuming the program is continuing, it would be 200,000.
okay, I'm glad you pointed out, that 97,000 will come out, and we got another month to go, this is just a 11-month report, correct?
Well, we didn't start the program until,
No, I mean, the budget's just based, I mean, the up to date is just through the first 11 months.
correct, right, for first 11 months.
Okay. So, we have no agreement with the parking company at this time, is that correct?
That is correct, it's a month-to-month, business as usual.
So,
With some
do
tweaks.
we know if the percentages are gonna change? I mean, how did we get to $200,000? Is that just a guesstimate?
That's based on the performance of the program since May 15th. That is also estimating for a shoulder season, which is something that the parking task force should complete their recommendation tomorrow. So I'd like to schedule a work session with you to discuss that. They have a recommendation framework that they've established, and that's a citizen group that's been established from the city.
Right.
And they would make a recommendation to council, and then that would be part of the contractual. If there was a contract negotiation, that would be a part of that negotiation.
But on that, just separate side issue, on that committee, no one had parking experience of any kind, is that correct? Other than the vendor?
When you say of any kind, what is the time that you would say qualifies any kind of experience?
They've never been in the parking industry.
I mean, I've been helping to facilitate the conversation. I have a little bit of experience, not as much as some people. But the committee was intended to be a citizen and business owner committee that could look at the impacts on the citizen and business owners and the community residents, especially in the district most affected by downtown parking.
Okay, the reason I ask, I was under the impression when the first one was signed, that the second one would not be signed under the same percentages that the city's got under the first one.
There's
We don't
no
know that.
contract.
We have not negotiated
So we don't know, we don't know.
Correct.
Okay, so 200,000
Is a guesstimate.
is a guesstimate.
Yes. And what we did for the task force, we asked for letters of interest, and we received eight, and then 3 others.
Oh,
were
I'm not knocking anybody's
I'm just explaining how the task
desire,
force.
to get into it. I listened to one meeting and
Okay, any more questions, Art?
no one has that percent right now, is that correct as far as? Okay. All right, I'll shut up there.
Diane?
I was just going to suggest what Andy did, that Sandy does have an expenditure report that she gives to council periodically. But I'd also like to offer to council, especially the newly elected ones, that if they have any questions about the packet, they are certainly welcome to contact staff, during business hours to explain to them, like I said, especially the new ones, because it's rather confusing. So we are open for your questions, ahead of a council meeting to further educate you.
Yeah, anytime, if you got something in your packet, I'm available, Andy's available, other council members are available.
You guys are gonna probably wish you didn't invite me to do that. I fully intend to do that, it just was short notice, and I'm looking at these numbers, and, I had those questions, and I think when I get educated on it, I won't have to ask so much, and I'll have my answers. But
Well, we're here to guide you.
If I'm not mistaken, Andy, when you estimate income, you take a guess at things based on past history, or the parking's a little more stretched because it's an unknown, but our income is based on history and what our best guess is.
Well, I know that, all budgets are, but the point is, how, you say yes, but their guess has to be as accurate as possible, and I'm sure there is, Andy. So I don't want to think, you just pull the numbers out of the sky. So, we're playing with residents' money here as well, and so I want to make sure that I understand it completely, so I have no second guess, and I know I'm on board with everybody else's terminology and the definitions. That I like playing with numbers, so you're going to get a lot of questions from me on numbers. I'll tell you that right now. That's all I have. I'm done.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike.
No, that's what we're doing. That's what this is about. Oh, good questions, and we're going to get the information for you.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, council? Do I have a motion?
You already did. No, sorry.
What?
We're doing 19, right?
Yes, 19.
I move to approve resolution number 19, series 2019, a resolution summarizing expenditures and revenues and adopting a budget for the city of Idaho Springs, Colorado for the calendar year beginning on the first day of January 2020 and ending on the last day of December 2020, and appropriating sums of money for the said year.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second on the table. Last chance for discussion.
I do have one question. There's something I see that I think is not right, so I have an opportunity, and does that be city council to come to someone and say, hey,
Absolutely. So to explain, the budget is a working document.
Right.
Even after we approve it.
Okay.
There are times that we can do we don't like to. We like to think that we have a solid budget, that we don't have to do a budget amendment.
Right.
But if we see something, there's always that option that we can bring to council and get a vote on.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have one question. The budget process starts when in the year?
We started this in late June.
Yes.
So we
Yeah. Takes half the year with many public hearings.
Correct.
For every department.
I understand. I've
Okay.
looked budgets all my life, so
Good. Well,
that's not
yeah,
a big deal.
the Government Accounting Standards Board makes this a little more complicated every year.
I was involved in it.
Okay.
And we get a monthly report, right?
Yes.
A monthly expenditure and income report.
Correct. All right. Any other questions? Roll call.
Michael Hillman?
Yes.
Jeff Bell?
Yes.
Bob Boland?
Yes.
John Curtis?
Yes.
Jeff Harmon?
Yes.
Jim Clark?
Yes.
Art Cacavelli?
Yes.
All right. Now we'll move down to something that we have to do every year, this resolution 20 about levying general property tax. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve resolution number 20, series 2019, a resolution levying general property tax for the year 2019 to help defray the costs of government for the city of Idaho Springs, Colorado for the 2020 budget year.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Motion and seconds on the table. Discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Michael Hillman?
Yes.
Jeff Bell?
Yes.
Bob Boland?
Yes.
John Curtis?
Yes.
Jeff Harmon?
Yes.
Jim Clark?
Yes.
Art Cacavelli?
Yes.
All right. Motion passes. All right. We're going to come down to resolution 21 for the public. This was something when we did the blight study. A lot of folks in the community got upset. What we were trying to do and what our attempt was not well received. For the past close to 4 months, the city council has not mentioned it, has not talked about it. The only time it was mentioned in a council meeting or otherwise was somebody from the public coming to us. I thought about this very strongly, and I felt that the blight study did not give us the information that we were attempting to get. And I thought it was fair to do a resolution to the public and to any property owners that thought they were targeted for being blighted, to do a resolution and put this thing away and never talk about it again by this council or and moving forward. So I need a motion.
I would like to move that resolution number 21, series 2019 be approved. It's a resolution declining to declare any area of the city to be blighted as recommended by the 2019 Idaho Springs Blight Study for the exit 240 and east and east end areas.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Is that written correctly, as it says a resolution declining to declare? Okay. A little confusing.
Well, and my understanding is we're taking it off the table, right?
Absolutely. Any other comment, discussion? Roll call.
Michael Hill.
Yes.
Scott Canal.
Yes.
Bob Boland.
Yes.
John Curtis.
Yes.
Jeff Carmen.
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
Art Cacavelli.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. We will move on down. You mean I actually get an applause for one? Okay, thank you very much. All right, we will move down to our ordinance first reading. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no, we gotta do resolution 25.
I move to approve resolution 25, number 25, series 2019. A resolution supporting the grant application in partnership with Clear Creek School District for a local parks and outdoor recreation grant from the State Board of Great Outdoors, Colorado Trust Fund, and the completion of the Carlson Elementary School playground project in the city of Idaho Springs.
Do I have a second? Second. Discussion. So what I would like to say is I know that Carla Cole has headed up on the replacement of our playground at Carlson Elementary. Long overdue. I'm really surprised that we haven't had children get hurt on that playground. Yeah. Also partnering up with the Historical Society because we're going to kind of include the grounds around it. We've got some drainage issues we're looking to fix. And we're hoping to also try to include, and I don't know exactly how it's going to be structured, but the city is obligated to help with, if not pay for, all of the landscaping around the library. The library's been sitting like that for 6 years, 6 or 7 years ago, and the grounds need to be fixed. We need nice grounds, grass. Carla has come up with a very good proposal and design to make this happen. Now it's just going to take us being able to get grants and get some money to help pay for it. So that's what this is about, long overdue, and I think it'll be a good project for that area as a whole. Any other discussion? March. All right, can I have a roll call?
Michael Hill.
Yes.
Stephanie Hill.
Yes.
Bob Boland.
Yes.
John Curtis. Jeff Carmen.
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
Art Cacavelli.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. We will now move down to our ordinance first reading. This is where Councilman Boland will report.
No,
he doesn't need to leave. does he?
I advise not because he's recusing himself for this and it's just going to schedule the hearing. But
Yeah, my problem is the other people are here to explain it. There's questions. Yeah, so I'm the only one. Rick Barnett and Andy.
This is just a
I know, but he's trying to.
Where's it? And Alan's already left.
A little bit of a.
All right, well, let's try to see if we can do it without. Do I have a motion? This is just first reading too. It'll have to come back. Any changes can be made at the second reading in 30 days. So, do I have a motion?
Yeah, I would move that we accept the first reading for ordinance 22, series 2019, ordinance annexing to the city of Idaho Springs approximately 0.49 acres of land in unincorporated Clear Creek County, Colorado, adjacent to the Montane Park subdivision, to be known as the Boland Garnett annexation to the city of Idaho Springs.
Do I have a second? Motion and a second. Discussion.
Got any projected use on this?
I think it's just cleaning up some BLM property that's in between them, and I think that's all this is about. From what I have seen, there's no usable land.
Oh, yeah, it's not that big.
It's just cleaning up the property. Alan's not still here, is he?
Yeah, I probably need to go a little further than that.
I don't think.
Yeah, Bob, you can discuss.
No.
Discuss.
As Alan explained, he's going to go over this on the second reading.
Yes, we will make sure that we have a.
And even beforehand, maybe asking for the more of a report. I see it's just there's the maps and. Oh, we did do a staff report. Okay, there is a staff report.
Oh,
spells it out a little bit in the body of the ordinance. Anybody say a specific date and
Land unincorporated Clear Creek County, Colorado, adjacent to the Montaigne Port subdivision, we know that. It doesn't give us a lot of information here.
Is there any, cost to us?
No, there's no cost.
We're not purchasing land?
No. This is between two owners and the deal. Yeah, there's no cost to it. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Michael Hellman?
Yes.
Scott Pennell?
Yes.
John Curtis?
Yes.
Chuck Harmon?
Yes.
Jim Clark?
Yes.
Art Cavalli?
Yes.
Okay, and then we'll have that back in about a month for our second reading on that. And if anybody's wanting some more information, I'm sure that we can get that to it. All right, city administrator.
Mayor and council, we have my report with 3 requests for action.
All right. Anybody have any questions for city administrator Marsh? Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the proposal from History Matters LLC in the amount of $14,996 to prepare a historic survey plan.
A second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Roll call.
Michael Hellman?
Yes.
Scott Pennell?
Yes.
Bob Boland?
Yes.
John Curtis?
Yes.
Chuck Harmon?
Yes.
Jim Clark?
Yes.
Art Cavalli?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, we will move to the second ask. Do I have a motion?
I would move that we approve a proposal from Silver Plume Home Services, Inc. in the amount of $15,692.77 for window and door rehabilitation at the Brian Hose House as recommended by the Historic Preservation Review Committee.
Do I have a second? Discussion.
I have a question about that. Are we receiving more than one bid on these?
We received 2 bids, and this was the lower of the 2 responsive bids.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Michael Hellman?
Yes.
Scott Pennell?
Yes.
Bob Boland?
Yes.
John Curtis?
Yes.
Chuck Harmon?
Yes.
Jim Clark?
Yes.
Art Cavalli?
Yes.
All right, we'll move to C under the third ask from the administrator. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the submission of a grant application to the State Internet Portal Authority in the amount of $6,500 with no match for a new digital public engagement platform.
Do I have a second? Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Michael Hellman?
Yes.
Scott Pennell?
Yes.
Bob Boland?
Yes.
John Curtis?
Yes.
Chuck Harmon?
Yes.
Jim Clark?
Yes.
Art Cavalli?
Yes.
All right, city clerk.
Mayor and Council, you have my staff report for your review. If you have any questions, I'm all ears.
Any questions from council? No? I see you chomping at the bit.
No.
The sales tax report?
Did everybody get the sales report, like 22.8%?
As usual,
$40,000 for October?
And if I may, I was looking at back to 2014, we have almost doubled. It's real close to doubling 2014 figures.
We did have a sales tax increase.
Right, but even so, it's pretty remarkable in a 5-year period,
I think
even with the increase.
This year's been remarkable.
All right, thanks, Diane.
That relates to the amount of people coming through our town.
Yeah.
Police department.
Mayor and council, I'll refer you to my report. I have no request for action, but for the benefit of the new members, you might notice at the bottom in the bold lettering is that year to date, members of the police department and code enforcement have addressed 7,258 calls for service. What that is anything that receives what's called a CAD number, computer assisted dispatching, it counts as an incident, a reported incident. That includes everything from our aggravated assaults to saving kittens out of trees. I think for our small police department, we can be very proud of our staff. for the volume of work we produce. This does not include the kinds of contacts where an officer comes across someone that needs some minor assistance and they don't get on the air and generate number. So we're not overwhelmed, but your officers work hard.
All right, thanks, Chief. Anybody have any questions, Chris? All right, John Bordoni's not here. He didn't submit his staff report either. Any questions that you may have, council, about public works and streets?
Well, the problems Santiago brought forward, I think we need to address that.
It will be addressed, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, Dan?
Mayor and Council, I apologize. I was out of state last week for a funeral, so, now staff.
Just give us a little update of where we are on our wastewater.
Things are going good. We're pouring. Got the last couple concrete slab pours going on this month. They'll start with the metal building, and we move inside the current building. They're doing piping from the digesters, the current digesters, into the raw sewage pumps, pumping fluid into the plant. That's being rearranged a little bit because our current digester is going to be a pre-EQ basin, which equalizes the flow so we can feed it constantly during the day and the night, so you're not getting diurnal flows that kind of mess with the treatment. So it's moving along.
Everyone's schedule?
Yeah, it should be pretty good.
And
Big
I
step.
mentioned the other night that the city did receive the $1 million grant from GOLA for Project 2.
Second $1 million.
All right. Thanks. Any questions from council to Dan? All right, committee reports. So we will, here in the near future, appoint, we have committees that council is responsible for going out and spending a little time with these committees and bringing back information to us. So we'll appoint those after the first year. Also, what I like to do when new council comes on is we do a retreat. So we're going to plan a retreat out, after the first of the year, where we come together, set some goals, talk about things, what we can and can't do, and kind of get a city council 101.
Jamaica.
The
budget.
We'll lie on it when you. All right. Okay, it is now 8:33, and good meeting adjourned.